Number one, there's no longer an undefeated team in the National Football League, courtesy of the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. The Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers are no longer amongst the undefeated in the National Football League. Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels got hurt in that game against Cleveland, and their top-rated all-around defense. And as a result, Brock Purdy seemed ordinary for a change, losing the first start of his career. I'm not really worried about the San Francisco 49ers. I'll be just fine. I think that they're going to be a formidable team that you have to be reckoned with, but we can't ignore the fact that they lost and that they are no longer amongst the ranks of the undefeated. We have to acknowledge that Cleveland beat them up pretty bad, physically, defensively. It was still a close game. A field goal kicker blew the game for them, couldn't convert as time expired. And as a result, the San Francisco 49ers ended up losing the first game of this season. I will remind everybody that coming into Sunday's game, Brock Purdy had the highest passer rating in league history at 121.1 for any quarterback in his first 10 career starts. But yesterday, Sunday, he passed for only 125 yards, completed just 44% of his passes, 55.3% passer rating against Cleveland were all career lows. In his defense, the Browns are the number one team in the National Football League in total defense. So we got to take that for what it's worth and understand that's just the way that it goes. In the case of the Philadelphia Eagles, I think it was more of an alarming loss. The New York Jets defense is all world. We know that. Here's the flip side. Sauce Gardner was out. DJ Reed was out. Their top two starting quarterbacks were out. And they still shut down the Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts, 3 interceptions, no touchdown passes in the second half. A.J. Brown balled out. Devontae Smith, usually reliable. Devontae Smith dropped a couple of passes. They couldn't run the football. They got punched in the mouth and beat up at the line of scrimmage. They weren't getting the proper level of pressure on Zach Wilson either for the Jets. So that certainly didn't hurt. The Jets, didn't help the Philadelphia Eagles. But the only thing that I want to say is this. A couple of things. Number one, the Detroit Lions are a team that we got to look out for. When we look at the Detroit Lions right now, they're tied for the best record in the National Football League at 5-1. Dan Campbell, the head coach, made news by talking about how when in his introductory press conference of being the head coach, there was going to be a culture change set here, that we going to bite kneecaps and all of this other stuff. And everybody made fun of him. Well, guess what? The Detroit Lions are balling. Who's playing better football than Jared Goff, who right now, whether we want to admit it or not, is an MVP candidate, y'all. There is no way around this. Jared Goff, the quarterback for the Detroit Lions, is an MVP candidate. Detroit is 13-3 since week 9 of last season. Second best record in the National Football League behind only the San Francisco 49ers. In that span, Jared Goff has 28 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. 28 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. They're a top 5 team in both total offense and scoring offense, and a top 10 team in total defense and scoring defense. I'm sorry, the Detroit Lions are here. And everybody's got to take notice. So we got to give props where props is due, okay? I want to get to that and just say that, okay? In the AFC, I'm thinking about the Miami Dolphins because I'm thinking about this brother Tyreek Hill and the kind of show that he's putting on a regular basis. I know I saw Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals win back-to-back games. I get that. I understand that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are what they are. I get that. I understand that. I understand that the Baltimore Ravens are a team to be reckoned with Lamar Jackson. I get that too. But here's what I want y'all to make sure y'all get. Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins, he's on another level. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Rice is universally recognized as the greatest receiver in the history of football. Randy Moss, I think, is number 2 all time. Terrell Owens, I have as top 3. I ask y'all a simple question. Can we definitively look at the way that Tyreek Hill is playing right now and say unequivocally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we prefer any of those guys over Tyreek Hill? With his evasiveness, his speed, his electrifying speed, his breakaway speed, the fact that you could throw him a 5-yard pass, dip and dunk, and the next thing you know, he could take it to the house. Can we say definitively that we would prefer to have any of those receivers other than Tyreek Hill? I don't know if we could do that. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if we could do that. Maybe y'all could, but I can't. I'm just going to be real with you. He's that big. He's that big time. Tua Tagovailoa can throw that damn football. He definitely can throw the deep ball. But here's the reality. When you look at Tua Tagovailoa, put some pressure on him. Put a hat on him. Concuss him. Who the hell knows what'll happen? Tyreek Hill, what you going to do with him? Ladies and gentlemen, he's the NFL's version of Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar. He destroys you and waves goodbye while he's doing it. He's running for touchdowns and he's waving goodbye. He's doing backflips while text messaging at the same time. This is what Tyreek Hill is doing on an NFL team, in an NFL league. We haven't seen anything like this, brother. At some point in time, we're going to have to pay attention to it. I'm just going to read you some numbers from Tyreek Hill. There's been 14 games this season where a player had at least 150 receiving yards in a game. Hill has 4 of them. 4 of them. He's caught 4 or 5 deep targets for 139 yards and a score on Sunday, just yesterday. He leads the NFL with 814 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, and a 19.4 yards per catch average. He's chasing a 2,000-yard receiving season. He's averaging 135.7 receiving yards per game. So he's on pace for over 2,300. 2,300 yards he's on pace for. He does that, he'll be league MVP. And we know receivers don't get that award. Not only has a wide receiver never won the Associated Press MVP award, but the last wide receiver to even get an MVP vote was Randy Moss way back in 1998. This is what we need to understand about Tyreek Hill. And all I can say is this. I want the brother in the Super Bowl. I truly, truly do. I want the brother in the Super Bowl. I want the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl. I want to see that kind of aerial assault, that kind of offensive firepower in the Super Bowl because we'll be assured that it won't be boring. Now, who they go against remains to be seen. It could be the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing. It could be the San Francisco 49ers. Okay? It could be the Detroit Lions. I'm just saying.